Hey folks, it's Fernando doing another video for the More Survivalists, and this is going to be a video about preparedness and wet dreams. This is because of a comment that I got here, and this is a comment that was made in my video about barter items. In that video I explained that I don't believe much in barter items because I believe there's other things to focus on, but I said that if you are in that point where you've already covered all of your necessities in terms of preparedness, when you have all the gear, equipment that you need, and you have an amount of savings for emergencies as well, for a rainy day, when you have everything sorted out and you just want to have something for bartering, I explained a few things, but I made the first priority precious metals. If you have spare money that you just have to spend on something physical other than the supplies and gear that you're going to be using, gold, silver, those things, at the very least, if you don't end up using them later on, you can still sell them, trade them, because they are still valuable no matter what happens. Even if the world does not end, even if you don't end up walking into barter town to barter whatever it is that you have, gold and silver still will be valuable. Now, this person, Lola Bido, says, luckily I didn't have to watch the whole 30 minutes of the video because at about 4:30 he puts precious metals as first on his list. Then I knew I was watching a dope. In the prepper wet dream situation of shit hit the fan, if you need food and I have food and you tell me you can trade gold or silver, I will laugh in your face and tell you to hit the road. I can't eat, drink, wear, or live in your gold. The problem with this is that it's not a joke. I think that this was not made sarcastically, but actually made for real. Someone actually thinks this way, and that's okay. But you know, it should be obvious enough the problem here when he says, in the prepper wet dream situation of SHTF, prepper wet dream, reality, they're not compatible, they're not interchangeable. That's why one is a fantasy wet dream of yours and the other one is what actually is. This is one of the most common problems when people address preparedness. And I think it's the perfect example of thinking, and it's not the first time I've came across this reasoning. I've seen many other folks in forums and such mention this exact same thing. Gold and silver are not going to be of any value in the end of the world, and when you come with your pile of gold, I will not trade you a chicken egg for it. I will not trade a can of beans even for 10 ounces of gold because I cannot eat it. You know, that's a fantasy, that's wishful thinking of yours, but it has the problem of not being compatible with reality as of right now. As of this very moment, you can walk into any town in any city of the world and you will find a store of some kind that buys and sells gold and silver for whatever currency is being used in that place. Alright, that's happening as of right now. It has been that way for 10,000 years. So how likely it is to that change all of a sudden because it does not align with your own personal wet dreams, you know, quoting your own words, it does not, reality does not fall within your wet dreams fantasies. And it's not just about this. It's not just about gold and silver, people wishing for them to just lose value all of a sudden for whatever reason. You see it in, for example, body armor. You come across guys that have 5, 10, 20, 30 guns, thousands of rounds of ammunition, not one piece of body armor. And when you even suggest it, they say, what, are you crazy? Why would I need body armor? I have 30 guns for self-defense. I'm not going to be needing body armor. Well, that's great, but you still should have body armor if you're planning on engaging in gunfights in a worst case scenario and things don't go your way. There's a good chance that you may end up getting shot. You're not going to be shooting thousands of rounds of ammunition through your dozens of guns and never get shot back in reply. But you know, sometimes I've heard people say, I'm not planning on getting shot. Well, no one plans on getting shot, it just happens. How likely is it that you're going to be in a gunfight in the first place? Very unlikely. How likely is it that you end up getting shot in one? Well, odds are not that good. In general, there's a good possibility that in the rare case of a gunfight even happening, but if it does happen, there's a good chance that you will get shot in return yourself. It's not just you doing, it's not a video game. Sometimes people have commented, well, but I'm not in Afghanistan. Well, it doesn't matter if it's Afghanistan or if it's your home. If there's a break-in, someone breaks into your house with a gun, it's a dangerous situation. Maybe you don't have time to do anything, but maybe you do. Sometimes you do have a few seconds and you are able to grab your flashlight, grab your gun. If you have a couple more seconds, you may be able to put on your body armor as well. That gives you a huge advantage in such a dangerous confrontation. A huge advantage. Might be saving your life for doing so. But again, it's the problem is people focusing on the things that they like and not addressing the ones that they don't like, in spite of them being a priority or being relevant or being important when looking at it from an objective perspective. You have to analyze what is likely, what are your main concerns in terms of preparedness, and address those first. The most likely scenarios, the most urgent matters should be addressed first, not last. The things that are more likely to happen, those you should focus on first. And if it's not aligning with your own personal fantasies, then that's too bad, but you should not ignore it, because it makes no sense to focus only on fantasies or wet dreams, as this person puts it, and not address the elephant in the room. Talking about the elephant in the room, there's hundreds of preppers, survivalists out there that are morbidly obese and have a huge problem, an obvious one, with their physical condition, and they don't address that because it's not convenient. There's actually a well-known guy in YouTube that was in one of these doomsday prepper things. The guy has, at the very least, 100 pounds of fat on his body, morbidly obese, a serious medical condition. And whenever anyone mentions it, in the comment section, I read sometimes that some people, even suggest, maybe you should lose weight or something like that. The guy gets pissed and replies with a nasty comeback reply. That's the perfect example. A guy focusing on food storage, focusing on radio, ham communication, or guns, and you're not addressing the obvious problem that you have, the most likely thing to kill you, because it's statistically speaking, the #1 cause of death is heart, cardiovascular problems, usually closely related to being overweight. You're not addressing that first. The thing that keeps you alive, your body, makes no sense. Focus on what's realistically likely to happen first, your main priorities, and start working your way down according to what's likely to happen. And don't focus only on the things that you enjoy doing, the things that come easy to you because you like them, because you already know them and feel comfortable with them, and ignore the things that you should be addressing first. Folks, for more realistic, real-world survival and preparedness, I always suggest, of course, my book, The Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse. Realistic survival and preparedness is always better than fantasy situations for events that have never happened before, and we get this so much. We get this a lot. It's good. It's good fun if you're watching it in a movie. It's entertaining and such if you're reading a novel and a book. But that's not the way in which you should be doing your preparedness. Survivalism is about real things. In general, things that have happened before, not focusing on fantasies, and especially not focusing on wet dreams. Guys, take care, have a great day, see you in our next video.